Okay, so we're going to get into our first project. We're going to be designing some tweezers. This is a great project because it's going to take us through some of those basic tools that we're going to use time and time again. So the first thing to know is that just navigating around, using that middle mouse button, you can move around, but if you want to pan or orbit, hold in Shift to move that around like that. Okay, so we're going to start with making a new design, and the best thing to do straight away is to save it, so Control S. And we're going to save that as Tweezers prototype, something like that. And that means that Fusion 360 can immediately start auto-saving, so that if it does crash, which it does from time to time, you don't lose everything. So, the basic workflow is always that you go from a sketch into bodies. So we're going to start with drawing a sketch. Most of my sketch tools are in this menu here. We're going to choose a plane, and see we've got this cube at the top here that tells us where we're looking. So let's choose that bottom plane there. We're looking at it from the top down, and I'm now inside a sketch, right? And you'll always know because you've got this green tick in the corner here. So we're going to start with creating the outline of our tweezers, and for this I want a center rectangle. You can see you've got all these different options, and those options even tell you how to use them. So a center rectangle, we're going to choose the center point, and already I've got a couple of dialog boxes. These are our dimensions. I want 20mm by 80mm. You just type them in, hit enter. And now we've got an enclosed shape, you know, because you've got yellow on the inside, and we've got our line around the outside. These lines here are construction lines. They're going to be really helpful later for specifying geometry without it actually being part of the design. So if that's the outline, we need the curve because we're going to use the flexibility of that PLA plastic to allow us to squeeze these tweezers shut. So I'm going to come across to arc, and what I want is a 3-point arc. You can see you start to snap to different parts of the grid. So snapping to that corner, and as I bring it out, it even snaps to when it's a half circle. Now, at the moment, I've got two different shapes. Now, I don't want to just bring out this whole block. I want to add some thickness to the arms. So what I'm going to do is use an offset. Right, so we're going to trace all the way around, but the fact that we have two different shapes is a bit of a problem because offsets only work on the one shape. So to get rid of that line, I can either make it into a construction line, or I can come up here for trim. And the shortcut for that is T. And that allows me to remove that geometry, which means that, again, we now have one big shape. So, using our offset tool, this is one we'll use all the time, O for offset, and now you can see you can add some thickness, and it's offset of -2, the minus is just telling you the direction, and now we've got our outline. What's really handy is that if we change these dimensions, that offset will still remain at 2mm. Now I don't want these connected at the end, so to close those off, I could use the line tool, but I can also come up to modify and click extend. And now you can see it extends that line to the nearest line. Again, I want to trim those out, T for trim, and now we've got white space, which tells us that it's no longer part of our sketch. So if I finish the sketch at this point, I've just got this drawing, it's on the bottom plane, and now we get to see how you create three-dimensional bodies. So you come up here, create, extrude, and again, this is a really common one, so it's good to give it its own shortcut, which is E. We've got lots of different options over here, but what we want is to bring that up to, let's say, 8mm. Awesome. The sketch is hidden. There's the profile still underneath. Turn off the bodies, and we can see where our body is coming from. From sketches, we create bodies. Bodies we can organize into components, and components can be assembled together, and we'll see how to do that a little bit later.